I am Negan.
I am Negan.
I am Negan.
What's up, people? Welcome back to I Am Negan, a TWD Universe podcast. My name is Adam Vale, senior editor over at the Koalition.com, and I'm joined by editor-in-chief of the Koalition, Richard Bailey Jr.
What's up, Adam? What's up, listeners and viewers?
And Throwdown show over on Twitch and YouTube, Carlos Romero.
Yo, what's going on?
What's going on is we are, man, I can't even say this with a straight face.
Are you falling asleep during this?
Like
Negan and Maggie.
Oh yeah, who knows what's going on with Maggie? Because what we thought with the whole vertigo and all that stuff, that's not the case, as we saw toward the end of that episode. But yeah, this, everybody, is season 2 of The Walking Dead: Dead City, episode 7, A New Day, New Beginnings. At least that's the translation from the Croatian, because this is the Croat picked the title for this episode, and that's what we have here. Oh boy. So if you haven't seen it, everybody, we are going to spoil this real bad. We have some issues, we have some concerns for the show in a whole, like the franchise of this, for this Dead City spinoff, because right now it's not looking too good. There's some good moments in this episode. Don't get me twisted on this. There are some good moments, but it's a bait and switch. There's a lot of red herrings, and I don't like that. I don't like that type of storytelling. So again, go watch it on AMC or AMC Plus if you haven't already, because we are going to break it down and spoil it real bad. All right, 3, 2, 1. Boop. Oh man, this. All right. I mean, let's just start. We're just gonna flow with it. All right. So it starts off where we see Maggie. She made it to Dama's house, right? Because Negan had said, "Hey, he's not here at the church, but he could be at Dama's, right?" But she's baking right now. You know, he saw that. At least we all thought we saw that, right? But I think, Rich, you were the one that called it, right? You're like, "Oh no, I don't think so. I think we got a Friday the 13th situation going on here, right?"
Oh yeah, because we know how obsessed Herschel is with the Dama. So I figured that, they have to show those two together again, reunited. So they probably were going to find some type of way to bring her back. That's what I figured. But it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
They could have done it in a creepy way. But anyway, Maggie is walking around, and all of a sudden we hear some classical music being played, but it's kind of warped. Understandable, because the record player was in the room with the fire, and the record was on the record player in the fire, and it's all wobbly and warped. Very cool. I do like warped records effects. When I've produced my own music, I've added some samples. It makes a very cool sound, but it doesn't just die the way it did here. It's like, and then it stops, and she looks around, and Croat's just there alone, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And he's freaking out. And basically, she's like, "Where's my son?" He's like, "He's not here. I don't know." She pulls out a knife. She puts it in the throat. She's like, "You better tell me." And he's like, "I don't know." And then eventually he was like, "Well, maybe I do. There could be something, And then there we go, the intro. But the intro song plays in. But this right here, right? Because we saw a body on the ground, right? I saw a lump, unless that was just the rug rolled up.
No. There was a burnt body skeleton on the ground. So I want to see how they explain that, because that didn't make any kind of sense.
Yeah, I think that was just the old switcheroo. Like they try to made us think that it was the Dama.
Yeah,
but clearly the Dama burned in the main headquarters. Because remember, she was yelling out for Negan and stuff, and Negan was in the prison. So that, I'm pretty sure that's where that happened. But I don't know. Maybe he burned someone to get into that place. I have no clue.
Yeah, I think
Go
they
ahead.
will provide an answer in the finale. They will probably have like this to show you, okay, this is how she survived or whatever, right before they start the episode.
It's not going to work either way because they're fooling no one. No one, go ahead in a comment. Give a like if you think you've been fooled. And you know what? We're going to get 0 likes because no one has been fooled. We saw a body. We saw her catch fire. If anything, if that's the case, she would have been running through the hallway on fire, Burning Man style, just running. People would have heard it, would have saw it. There's no way. I'm sorry. There's just no way. And that's right there. It just broke it for me. But whatever. Let's just keep going with this. So then we now jump to Negan. Negan is having I don't know if you want to call it a nightmare. He sees Lucille, his wife. That's not really a nightmare, right? You want to see your loved one who has passed, but it's a nightmare because it's a dream. It's not real. And he's having his own set of issues. As we'll find out, Maggie's also dealing with some other issues, but he's having his own issues. Pierce walks in. He starts talking about, this is Negan, about second chances and life and all these things. Doesn't know why God's doing this for him and keeping him alive. And, Pierce says, oh, well, I checked up on Jenny and she needs meds. It's like, well, yeah, we all knew that. It's like, so there's no meds in this church? No, he found some wrappings and some other stuff, right? But he's like, she's resting, but she definitely needs some meds. And so he was like, all right, fine, we'll figure something out. And then he walks out and he talks to henchman number 4, who's standing around talking about having some meds or getting some meds. And he walks up and he's like, what are you talking about? Where? He's like, oh, well, and he gives try to give a spooky story, right? He's like, well, there's this story. I mean, no one's ever made it back. Okay. He's like, just tell me. There was this nurse, right? And this nurse got a bunch of meds. I mean, I don't know where she got the meds. She probably scooped them from every hospital in New York. She just put them in like Santa, just in a big bag, right? And then she took off. She went to a hospital. Which hospital? I can't tell you, Negan. This is gonna be. Just tell me, damn it. He's like, all right, but no one ever makes it back. It went off to Bellevue. Yeah, with all the meds in the city. Are you buying this? Did anybody? Again, it's like, what? When did this happen? He says that this is like some fairy tale or something like that, and that no one ever makes it back. And I mean, you got a crew of people here with flamethrowers. Okay, flamethrowers. We saw that in the first episode of this season. You should be going in there like the Division cleaner style, There's anything that moves, that doesn't talk and just growls, just turns into bacon.
They should be like the Ninja Turtles going into a Pizza Hut. Like it's a clean sweep. It's over. They got it done. But yeah, it was pretty over dramatic the way that he presented the whole thing. I agree.
It was over dramatic, and I do have a very strong critique about that particular part. I'm gonna wait till you get to that when he's actually there, but I'll wait for that. But continue.
All right, hold on 1 second. Keep going, because I want to move. I want to make sure I got all this in order. Keep going.
Yeah, so I mean, the setup for him to go there, it made sense. They do need to get something for Jenny, so we understood that. Not really any complaints about that, although it makes sense Negan would be concerned, because at the last episode is when Jenny showed up and then she fainted, and then that's when he saw the wound that she had in her back. So made sense.
Yeah. All right. I found myself back. Because I was like, wait, am I reading this? Am I writing mumbo jumbo? And I was like, that's right. I forgot about, because I wrote, Croat starts talking to Maggie about cutting Herschel's toe off. And I'm like, when did this? I really did forget that happened and that was sent over. I didn't know. I don't know why. Did you guys remember that from last season?
I do remember it. To me, it really didn't matter though, because where the episode went. But I do remember that little detail.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have a little one-on-one when they're on their way to wherever, because at this point we don't know. Because he says that there is one spot. It's a safe house, and that he had only mentioned it in passing to that effect, right? And he was like, "Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
I was like, "Come on now, really?" He's like, "Well, yeah, it's like if the things hit the fan, then this is where you go." But anyway, before they get into that point, they starts talking about all the stuff with the toe, and Maggie was like, "Yeah, you forced me to come." It's like, "Oh no, no, he was willing." He was willing when he knew the cause. Again, it's like, how brainwashed do you have to be to let people just cut off your toe to prove a point? That
Yeah.
I'm sorry, there's not enough. There's not enough on my head. At least it's like, all right, we're just gonna prove
Eh,
a point. Can we cut off your toe? You pick the toe. We'll help you out. You pick the toe.
So let me just make this quick comment. I'm not going to go off
Hmm.
topic, but this whole thing about these characters that have higher beliefs in certain things. This is also an issue with the Daryl Dixon show because we have Laurent who thinks he is the chosen one, and none of us have really seen that in the show. So this character here, Herschel, in terms of what his motivation is, I still don't see what the motivation is,
Yeah.
other than he wants to save the city, but it's still no explanation. So let's see if they explain this in the finale, but I don't think they are going to because it's just there
No.
for a plot device to move the story forward.
No, they're not
Yeah.
going to. Well, even real quick, even what you just said with the kid and Daryl. I mean, he at least with him, his situation is that everyone's telling him he's special, so it's
Yeah.
just ingrained in his head. So he just has to be. If everyone believes it, he doesn't know it. He just feels it because everyone has the faith in him that he is a chosen one. All right, go ahead, Carlos.
Correct.
Yeah, man. Like I've been saying, I have bad, he's probably the worst written character out of the entire series. I just don't
Herschel.
understand. Yeah, Herschel. I don't understand him. There's no sense to the motivations. We don't really know him that well, and even to make those make those assumptions. Uh, him and the Major are two of the worst characters ever in the history of the Walking Dead universe.
And with our luck, they'll get a spinoff. They'll get a spinoff. They'll get a spinoff, and we'll
Oh
have
yeah.
to endure that whole thing. They'll put them in the Tales of the Walking Dead. Remember that? They'll get their own tales.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So yeah, it's ridiculous, man. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It is. And you know what else is ridiculous? The next scene out of this, because Negan talks to Pierce. I remember him, the storyteller guy, the whole thing. Right? Anyway, he's the one that's taking care of Jenny over at the church. And Negan asks him, like, so why are you helping? Well, why do you want to do all this? And he gives, well, when everything fell apart, I was a kid. I don't really remember it, but then I sort of remember it. I just want to be part of something. That's pretty much what he's trying to say. I just want to contribute in some way and do this whole thing. But what I call BS on is the next the next thing that comes out of Negan's mouth about all this, because he's like, oh well, I'm gonna go to the hospital, I'm gonna go get these meds. She'll eventually, when she wakes up, she's gonna be real angry, she's gonna not know who you are and all this stuff, and she'll probably attack you. That's a lie, because she knows who he is, because they were on the same boat together, they were all part of that same group. It's as if they forgot about that. Remember, right? I wasn't the only one. We all saw. They all knew each other. They talked. Maybe not a whole lot, but they were all on that ferry ride together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
I guess
don't know.
When Negan didn't know.
Yeah, Negan didn't know. That's pretty much
Yeah.
the only I guess saving grace to that potential plot hole is that Negan didn't know. He wasn't in the boat.
Well, maybe. But we get a quick scene. Croat and Maggie get to their destination, or what could be the safe house. Now, this is the big thing. So, people, if you're also from New York, then 23rd Street, you got the Flatiron Building, right, toward the downtown area. Right across, if you're looking uptown, you got Madison Square Park, and then to the left, you got those two big buildings that have the Sky Bridge. That's the Sky Bridge. That's what they're looking at. And in order to, he's saying, in order to get to the safe house, they have to go across the Sky Bridge to the other building. All right. Well, why can't you just go into the other building? Why do you have to walk through one building to get to the skywall? It's not like it's closed off, as we get into later. It is open on both ends. if they would have at least shown, let's say, the other building just to the point, all boarded up at the bottom, you can't go in. It doesn't make much sense because I was looking, I was like, oh, you're showing the sky bridge, but you're just going into one of the buildings connected to the sky bridge. You don't have any intention of crossing the bridge. No, they do. Then why? Then why not just start at the other building? You know what I mean? Did anybody else think about that?
Well, no, I guess they wanted to take the scenic route because this is a TV show and they're trying to fill TV time. That's my thought.
That's all I got to. That's the only thing. But you know what else? It doesn't make sense is right after that scene, we see Negan show up to my place of birth, Bellevue. Shout out to Bellevue, and he's missing something. What's he missing with him? Rich, what's he missing?
Lucille, no weapon whatsoever, just a little knife.
LV2. Remember, this is an upgrade rate. He's missing LV2. Who goes on a solo mission to quote unquote zombie hospital of no return, according to Jabroni number 4, with just a knife? You know, that makes no sense. No sense. Bring Lucille and let's see you go to town with LV2. I want to see that. Tase, swing the bats for the fences. At this point, during the fall, all these bodies, if they're old, which I'm assuming most of them are, should be mush. Just mush. Like maybe like an elbow to the neck should send that head popping off. Boop. You know, it should be like, that's all we should say, like popcorn. You're just popping off everywhere. That's what we should be seeing. But no, we don't get that. And why don't we get that? You know why we don't get that. Because of what comes up after this. But the show does some flipping back and forth. All right, so I'll get you guys to jump in on this next one because this is the part with the stairs. They're walking up all the stairs. That makes sense. You're not going to take the elevator. Probably don't work anyway. No electricity. All right, but still, they're walking up the stairs, and then Crawhead says, we got to be very careful. There's a lot of booby traps, and I don't remember where they all are. This is where we get the first sign that something's up with Maggie. Does she have fear of heights, vertigo, dizziness? We just know when she starts looking down, she's looking dizzy. She's getting a little dizzy. And at some point earlier on, before they left for the mission, Crow had even told her, he's like, you may need to get some rest because she looks like she's tired. Like she's been up all night from what happened. Think about it. She didn't sleep because she went and fought a bear, right? And then that wasn't enough excitement. She had to go try to track down her runaway son. She bumps into Negan, who is at the church, but then says you have to go to across town to Dama's place because that's probably where he went. So she had to do that whole trek. And then after she does that, now they're trekking wherever. I don't know if they give the exact location where Dama's place is. I'm assuming since the theater is somewhere within Broadway. So then that means they're going downtown. That's another, I don't know, 20 blocks. That's a lot. She's doing a lot of walking. So yeah, anyway, she looks like she's about to pass out, is the point. He sets up these traps, and then I even wrote in my notes, I was like, there's no way Herschel made it through all these traps. And then she even says it. She was like, there's no way Herschel made it. And he was like, you underestimate your son. Well, that might be it, but I can't underestimate the fact that he didn't put these traps back together. You know, so if he did trigger them like this guy is doing just to get through it, he didn't come back right afterwards and reset them. That doesn't make any sense. And he had never been there. Okay, that's the other thing. Remember, Crow had said he had mentioned it once while he was talking to Dama about this place. But once it doesn't say like, oh, we also explained all the little booby traps along the way. And this is a fairly tall building. I don't know how many flights, but it's definitely 50, 60 flights, right? It's up there. But anyway, that was the thing. So what did you guys think of that whole thing going on? We start seeing what's happening with Maggie getting dizzy. Because, I'm assuming it has to be because of fatigue. Because as I pointed out, and then we all remembered, first season, Dead City, she was on a high beam with Negan fighting it out, and then they fall off. At no point did she look dizzy there. So it had to be fatigue, right?
Yeah, definitely fatigue.
I mean, it was just kind of weird how it was always triggered by a high, a high view of, whatever the hell she was looking down on. And it was like the the most opportune times. Like she was getting dizzy when the trap is right there. She's getting dizzy when the walker's right surrounding her, and she was getting dizzy when she was about to crack through a glass floor.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah. She's getting dizzy, but you know what? She's not the only one having a bad day. Because Negan, you know what? Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's just say he was so excited that he can finally get some meds for Jenny that he just forgot LV2. Whoops, he just forgot. But he's now walking around this hospital. There's some roamers, you see them just walking around in circles. What do? They probably bump into walls or anything like that. I would like to see some just like, because they're just roaming. What if they go near the stairwell and just fall down the stairs? That would have been something to see, right? Like, he's walking, all of a sudden you hear go tumbling down. It's like, oh, they don't know what to do. They just roaming around. That would be funny. But then he goes into one room and we see, and for a second there, I thought it was an amputee. That's what I thought, because it was short. They were doing these fast cuts, and then you said, no, that's a kid. And sure enough, get this close-up shot. It is a little Walker kid. Little Walker kid screaming, growling. This is an aggressive Walker kid. This isn't like Walking Dead episode 1 with Rick on the road Walker kid. This is a real angry little kid. Like he wants his Legos. He did not get his Lego. He's mad, and he's running up to Negan, and Negan is freaked out. He doesn't know what to do. I think even if he had LV2, I don't think he would have used it. He had a knife. He didn't want to use it. But
yeah, and one thing I do want to mention, I do think that kid was actually his son, because his wife is also in this episode playing Lucille.
Oh, you think that's his real life son?
His real son, yeah, because they did that before. In a previous Walking Dead episode, there was a kid, and they said that was actually his son. So this was another family reunion, I guess you could say.
All right. Getting his son his acting credits for IMDb. All right, shout out to his kid. I get it. Got build up that Resi, right? Get it done now. But still, there's no excuse. I'm sorry. You're on a mission to save someone who tried to kill you last episode, and because like I said in the comment of the last video, Negan has gone soft in this season. This is not the Negan that I want to see. I think a lot of people do not want to see this version of Negan. We want to see the snarky remarks. We want to see, best comparison. This is it, best comparison. And everybody now, if you agree, then please say something in the comments or give a like for this, because I just want people to know if they agree. That's it. I just want to. We need a Sawyer from the Lost. Remember Lost? TV show Lost? Been rewatching it with my daughter. Sawyer. That's what we need. Someone comes up with one-liners, just like Negan did in the comics, just like how Sawyer did in the show, with Evan giving people freckles and all their different nicknames and stuff, and just not really caring, and you don't know what side of the fence he's on with things. He's like in the gray zone. That was Negan. And we don't have that. We don't have that version here. Right now we have, he cares about everybody and he wants to help people, and it's like he's Rick. They were like, we can't get Rick, so we'll just get Negan and we'll just pump it in and spit everything across with Negan. And that's what it feels like, because this is not Negan. What we're seeing in this is not him. This is definitely not the same one that we saw in the first season, and this is nowhere near Walking Dead proper Negan. So that's what I want. I want someone similar to Negan, someone more like Sawyer from Lost, with that attitude that was like, I don't even care. I just want to get things done. He give everybody really bad nicknames and just be cutthroat with stuff. I mean, we'll get to it. He sort of makes it seem like that version is coming, but no, that's not what we have right now. But even back to this, he takes a cart that's there, medical cart. He slams it against the kid, but the kid pushes him and he slips back and bumps his head. Really? Yep. This is how Negan goes out? That would have been, I mean, we know he's not going to die there, but still, that would have been kind of funny if that's how they were just to end it for Negan here. All right. So let's get to this one. This was the big one. Right, so we get Maggie and Croat. They're roaming around. And the the office building floors. We got some walkers navigating around. Maggie's getting real dizzy again, just like you said, Carlos. Worst timing ever, because she's like, once there's like one walker comes out, she stabs in the head, 3 or 4, and she's looking dizzy, like this is it, it's over. But she takes him out, and I think if I remember right, Croat does take one of them out, right? Like toward the end, I think, because he did have a knife in his hand. She gets up and she sees it, but then, right? I think that's what happened.
No, I don't think Crow took anybody out. He just picked her up at the end.
He just picked her up. All right. I don't know why I thought he had, because it was like doing the whole droggy thing. So I wasn't sure. But then he brings her back to the little hideout place or whatever little holdout spot. It wasn't even the official spot. But again, at this point, I'm still thinking this is BS, right? We were on the same page. There's no way this is a safe house. There's no way Herschel knew about this, and this is where he was going, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is all BS. All BS. All right, so then we get up to the point where Negan, he wakes up to see this walkie kid pretty much on top of him, just growling. No killing of a radio walking dead kid. Why? It's dead. The kid is dead. You know what I mean? It's like to have that sympathy for something that is not alive. That doesn't make any sense. It's like, oh, but it's a kid. It's a kid that's dead that's trying to kill you. But no, he shoves it off. He gets up. He walks out of the room. That was it. That's how quick that scene was. So there goes that. All right. But one thing we do know is that as he's walking, he does see an operating room. Right? That's the next thing. He goes in, he sees an operating room, and this is what we see, and this is what I'm talking about, red herrings. Because when he walks into the operating room, Negan doesn't see this. We see this. We see someone running right down the hall behind one of the walls through the window. We see that. And this is the problem I have, because when we get to all the stuff that he starts seeing, that's understandable. That's his perspective, right? His POV. This is our POV. Are we hallucinating now? Are you saying that we're not seeing things right? Because we saw someone running.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
This is the writers playing tricks, trying to deceive the audience. The same way they have Maggie and Negan having all of these issues in this episode because they want you to believe, oh, something can happen to these characters. But we already know they will survive because they're the stars of the show. So, this is them playing games with the audience.
I don't know how they broke the formula that works so well in Walking Dead proper. People, go ahead and comments. You know this formula. I know you know it. I know there's a Bob and Ted and Jill. You're all watching this, and you all know, you're nodding your head. The formula is you bring your star characters with extras, and the extras are the ones that die. They don't make it. You could give them some dialogue for like 2 episodes. Hell, even that guy, the jabroni number 4, that was with Negan, that was like, oh, don't go to the hospital, the nurse, have him come along and then let him die. You know what I mean? Have something that's like, oh, wow, look, a walker. Oh, my God, my leg. Do something. Come on. We don't even get that. Remember Walking Dead proper? Oh, they were killing people left and right. We talked about it before with Tyrese dying and the dude from Everybody Loves Chris. Remember? Yeah, they would throw in some celebrity cameo guys, and that was it. It was like, you're a celebrity cameo who's going to die and turn into a walker. And they were cool with it. Why can't we get that here? If he has this whole group of people, Negan could say, hey, you know what? All right, you know where the hospital is? Negan doesn't know. Negan said he only went out there once for with his dad, remember? How does he know where Bellevue is over on the east side? I don't know. Does he have a map? I know he's not taking the train, but whatever. That's what I'm saying. It's like, we know, like you said, we know Negan's not going to die. We know Maggie's not going to die. So then that eliminates that whole stress of like, oh no, what's going to happen? Are they going to make it? No. You know they're gonna make it. Just sprinkle some other people around. Let them not make it. But whatever. Right. So we get to the part where Maggie wakes up. She still has her knife in her hand. Croat didn't take that away. And then she looks at Croat and he's on the table working. And it turns out he's fixing her flashlight. He's like, yeah, I bet you didn't know I know how to do this. No one thinks I know how to do this. No one believed in me except Mama. Mama loved me. And filler. I'm just looking at my watch. I'm like, come on now. I don't need to hear this. And then he starts talking about, oh, you must have had a good mom. She's like, oh, my mom died when I was young and my dad went to the bottle. You forgot to mention your dad was a vet for like 20-something years or something. So he was definitely a functional alcoholic, if that's what she's trying to say.
And I named my kid after.
Yeah, exactly. I love my daddy so much. I named my kid. Forget about that part. But I guess maybe they're changing the narrative with some of the stuff here. Because that doesn't really add up. I remember that. And he had said at one point he did have a problem when his wife died. It was tough raising kids.
Mm-hmm.
But he stepped up. He did what he had to do. And he raised the two daughters and the son. Remember, there was the son. The son was already dead by the time Rick and friends made it to the farmhouse.
Yeah.
But man, but that bothered me. Given this whole sad story, I don't care. I don't want to relate to him. I don't care. Unless he's going to die right now, then that could have been the moment. Because that was the other thing I was thinking. I was like, well, we know Negan's not going to die, but maybe the Croat will die. We know Maggie's not going to die. This could be it for the Croat. So this is it. All right. So then we jump back to Negan. Now Negan is walking around that operating room. Weird scene here. Very weird. They're changing the script again of what we know walkers do when they're not chomping on people. They're just standing there waiting for something to happen. Because that was weird. He walks in, there's all these kids, these walkers, zombified kids just standing there. And they're not sleeping. They're not doing anything. And maybe, you know what? Now that I think about it, what if that's all BS? What if this was all in Negan's head? Because this doesn't make any sense right here, mainly because there's noise, right? We hear the noise. So we could hear there's some like running in the vents above him, right?
Yeah.
So there's clearly something, and he starts running, but they don't react. They just stand there. You would think with all the noise and all that, they would react. And even the camera at one point, when he leaves a room, it shows the back shot. And I was waiting for one of these walkers to just turn their head. I didn't see any heads turn, right? That was it. He just walks out. It was like, poof, we're done. I don't know. They could have did more with that. All right, but then now we get to the fun part, right? This is it. This is where, again, I was asking the questions. Rich, you filled it in. This is just the show trying to fill in some time and trying to make something out of nothing. But he was like, all right, we have to go to the other building now. It's like, what? Yeah, man, we got to go over this bridge. And you can see down because they're walking over glass. You can see to the street level, and Maggie's getting all dizzy. She's just, between that and the fatigue and all that stuff, it's taking her a long time just to take a few steps. He walks all the way through, real nonchalant. Hey, just come on, let's go. And she's walking and she gets dizzy. She falls down. A walker comes up. She's fighting with the walker, kills that one. She's still laying there. But then we start hearing the crackles, right? It's cracking. Oh no, she looks down. We could see all the little cars. It's like, is she gonna die? And then we see another walker coming, and he's just making things worse. Everything is cracking. You got Croat screaming, spread yourself out, make yourself big and crawl. I was like, that's all right, fine. If you think that's, I know that works in like quicksand and other swampy things that like make yourself big, lean back, whole thing. I don't know, and ice. They say that too also, so maybe that's where he's getting from, but who knows? Either way, it's at least something, right? So she's trying to do that. It's the one that she sort of took out is getting back up. He wants his revenge. He was like, I'm not gone yet. I'm hungry. He's pulling on her leg. She's kicking. The other one comes, and then we start seeing more cracks. She starts crawling, and then eventually the one that was in behind cracks right through, falls. I was hoping we would get, it wouldn't cost much. Just have her look down and just see a big splat on the ground. You don't have to go through the whole, it costs money, production of showing something falling, but it would just be nice for her to look down and just see the thing just explode. like Walker got like all over the place. I don't know. Just go over to the top with it, right? Just ketchup everywhere. But no, they don't do that. She gets up, she walks through. What did you think of this scene, Carlos? And then we'll go to Rich.
I mean, out of all the least suspenseful things in this episode, that was the least of the most suspenseful. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I the whole thing with Maggie, it's like, I don't know. I didn't understand why she was just stuck. Like, I get she was drowsy and stuff, but like, she couldn't move. And I know we made fun of it earlier, but did they ever explain what was going on? Was she just tired? Is that like,
we don't know. She's stressed. It's a combination, probably. Like we said, it's a lack of sleep, stress, just everything. She's looking for a boy, all that. Go ahead.
Yeah, paralyzed with fear, Carlos. That's what the writers decided to do. We have to really make you believe this character is in a lot of trouble and cannot function properly. So we're just going to have all these random things we throw into the episode. That's what I got out of that stuff with Maggie.
Oh boy. I mean, this is Maggie. We've seen like 12 seasons of her, overcoming everything. It's like, I understand going through trials and tribulations, but this is a bit much.
And again, before people come at us and are like, oh, but this is how it is. This is how it always. No. Watch Daryl Dixon. I don't want to spoil it. I mean, we did videos on it that did spoil it. You can go ahead and check it out over here on the Koalition. But he loses people is all I'm saying. Okay, they show he surrounds people, and these people go. And that's okay. It's sad, but it pulls the heartstrings, and it should be that way because we know he can't die. We know it's not going to happen to him. I mean, I remember in the comics, it was a huge deal when Rick lost his hand because it was like, what? He lost his hand and he was going to turn. They had to do it, and then the show couldn't even go that far with this. So they did it to Aaron. I'm like, all right, well, let Aaron do it. Well, could that happen here? Maybe, but I don't think they would pull it off. They wouldn't do that to Maggie. They wouldn't do that to Negan. So then what's really going to happen? The most we can have is them interacting with the humans who just beat them up and do all that stuff, but not kill them. Oh, man. You still there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're here.
All right. No, only because my earbuds are beeping. They're about to die. So,
yeah.
Keep talking. I don't know if I could switch in real time. We'll see. Just go ahead. But you know what?
I mean, we're pretty much at the end of the episode.
We're almost at the end. Let's see. Hopefully they last. That was so weird too. I've been charging them all day. I think they're just dying on me. All right. So we get to that. We go back to Negan. Right. Negan goes into a room. Did he see a cake? We saw a cake, right?
Oh no. That wasn't a cake. That was
how was that?
Box. It was like a box of tools or something like that.
Yeah, it was a box. It was a box of meds, right? A toolbox. But he finds meds somewhere along the line. I missed that part. But anyway, he grabs that, and then we see someone again running. He hears it running. He goes chasing, and then it just so happens that he has to go back through that room with the
kids.
The kids just standing there like. I was going to say like zombies, but they are pretty much zombies, but not doing anything. Then they sort of wake up and start grabbing at him. But again, he doesn't hit them in the face or anything. He just starts shoving them, being real protective. Don't want to hurt the dead Walker kids. Oh, man. Yeah. That was wrong. Like, I mean, I don't know if we brought it up, but we did off air. This is why he didn't have LV2, because they don't want him swinging, smashing in dead Walker kids on the show. If that's the case, why even do this scene? But
let me just make one quick comment. I'm gonna be very quick. Here's the thing: the whole story about there being some crazy nurse and people have gone there but they've never come back. That was a missed opportunity to really play into that, to actually have a threat there that Negan would have to face, similar to the last episode where Maggie had to face that bear. They could have had another, a different type of Walker there that Negan had to face.
Mini boss.
Yeah. And then he's the one that kills that, and it would have made sense that why no one ever survived, because there was this mini walker or whatever there that was taking people out left and right. So that was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, or she was just crazy. And then she was like, I'm healing everyone. And I have all these people just in all these rooms. She was like, wait your turn, Negan. Wait your turn. You know, that doctor will be with you shortly. And then just open up the door, and then all these workers are running at him. He's trying to cut the line. Get him. I'm thinking crazy. That's what they need to do. They need to just go off the wall with this. Instead, they do something. You don't need a big budget, people. You don't need a big budget. You just need to be creative. So whatever. They don't do it. So he goes running around. He eventually catches this person, tackles him down. He looks, he's like, all right, let me see you. Let's see you this. Oh, it's Lucille. Oh, Lucille. Oh, man, I can't believe it. And then she just starts bringing up stuff that he had brought up to Pierce about how taking care of her because she had cancer. It was so hard and this and this and that. And she says, hey, you did good. You cleaned me. You dressed me and all this stuff. And he's like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden she changes. Then it's Annie. And they're like, oh, Annie, oh, I'm so sorry. And then the little boy comes running in inside. Oh, Joshua, oh, this is great. Oh, I'm so happy to see you guys. Oh, man. And then we see that the doors that he's supposed to go through next are some walkers. So he's like, all right, let me go take care of these walkers. He goes, he kills one. He turns around, and Annie and Josh are gone. So he was hallucinating this whole time. Right, with everything. All right, keep talking. What did you think of all that? I'm gonna mess with my headset because now it's dead.
Yeah, he was hallucinating, and then he did see Jenny, the hallucination of Jenny as well. Then he turned around, and then that's when he saw the breathing machine. So that I guess what they were trying to say is by him thinking about all the people in his past, they led him to his goal, which was to get that breathing machine. But once again, not a very creative approach to the storytelling, because there was no real threat at the hospital. It was all filler. This entire episode was filler, in my opinion.
All right, I'm back. All right. It's this one. The other one's one earbud died, and the other one was like really low. I'm like, oh, here we go. But it let me switch on the fly. All right, cool. But yeah, he was hallucinating this whole thing. So we have Maggie over there getting delirious, doing stuff, not really seeing things, but just passing on. And then we got Negan actually seeing things. But the problem, and this is going full circle, is that we saw someone running. We saw some. It wasn't him. It was us, and that's the red herring. Why do that to us? There should have been someone there. It should have been that nurse, or you even said at first, like, oh, this is what's his name? This is Herschel. He's hanging out here.
Yeah.
No, but it's not. And then that's it, right? So then let's just jump up to the next part. We get over with Maggie. Maggie goes into the little safe room. There's nothing there. What kind of safe room is this? Where's the beds, the supplies, a radio, nothing. It's just him there, just looking all sad. And she said, this was never a safe house, right? You were just setting this up. And he's like, yeah, I just wanted you to kill me, pretty much, right? And not so many words. That was it. And you didn't do it, and I don't know where Herschel is, and she's flipping like, you think this is a game? You think this is a game? And she pulls her He-Man string. It's like you said, she just smashes him like through. It was an open window, but she's holding him. Like at least 75% of his body is hanging out of this window. She's definitely pulling that strength, and like she was gonna drop him. Did you not hear what he said not even a minute before? He wants to die here. So go ahead, let him go. So, but she doesn't do it. She's like, no, she's not doing it. So she lets him go. But then she looks down. And I guess at this point, she starts feeling real depleted with everything. She doesn't know where Herschel is. She just went doing this whole chase for no reason to go to this room just for this guy wanting to die. She decides that she's going to die. She steps up on the side of the window. It looks like she's about to throw herself off. And then, Croat puts his hand on her shoulder and pulls her down. And this goes back to something that he had said about what the issue with heights with people. It's not so much of the height, is that people have the tendency to that urge to jump. to just something about it. I mean, it's the same thing with weapons and stuff like that. I remember, again, some people may think this thing's true, but I remember there was a documentary that I saw, and then also reading about Abraham Lincoln, and apparently he had a thing with knives, and so he wasn't allowed to have one because they were scared he was going to cut himself. I don't know. It was weird. It was a weird thing, and that's why it always stuck in my head. But anyway, I'm sure there's certain things like that where people see something and they want to do something with it, whether it's jump or whatever. But anyway, he pulls her off the ledge, if you will, from the window. She sits down, and he's like, "Oh, everything, will be okay." I'm like, "Look at this guy. This is when you throw him over, right? This is when you get out of here. I'm done." And this is the flip flopping. I don't like flip flopping. I don't like when shows do like a spy v spy, where they go, all right, this person's bad. No, this person's good. Now they're working together. Then it's bad again. Then they're good again. No, that's it. Croat was bad from the beginning. We found out now he just wasted your time. Yeah, he talked you off the ledge, but he still hasn't helped you. He led you on this whole chase for nothing to a safe house that really wasn't a safe house when you could have spent that time trying to track down your son. So at that point, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna help you out. What do you mean? Just choke him out the window. There you go. Fly, But no, they don't do that. But that whole thing. Before I move forward, anything you want to say about that? Did you tear up? Do you relate? No.
Oh no, I didn't. I honestly didn't care about anything that they said to each other. I know that he was going to save her. Her wanting to jump. It is what it is, but yeah, I just, again, to me, that was all filler. That was the filler conversation I didn't really care about.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in lockstep with Rich about this. It didn't really. There were no stakes at the end of everything.
No.
And yeah, it's funny because the whole stuff with the Croat, it's like when Maggie's like, well, I want to die. No, you want to die. No, not anymore. Let's save each other.
Yeah, now. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I mean, even when he was talking about, my mom, she left us when I was 12, and I found her 2 days later off the. Why? We don't care, because that's the other part, and I forgot to mention this, because he lies, or someone's lying to us because of their origin story. Because originally, I think it was like an episode 2 back, when Damas was talking about how she found Croat, and he even says it to Negan, that his boat had crashed on the island, and then he found Dama, from the, I guess she saw the crash or whatever, and took him in. But in this story here, he says that when his boat crashed, he went wandering around and he found this place. Out of all places, well, this location is nowhere near the dock. This is pretty much right off Broadway. This is the middle of the island.
Off Broadway.
Yeah, off Broadway. There we go, way off. But yeah, it doesn't make sense. This is not where you would go. So I don't buy that at all. And saying that he stood and he was roaming alone for a while, and then eventually Dama found him. They're just changing things up. They're just changing it on the fly. They're thinking no one's paying attention. And maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. Maybe we are the only ones that are paying attention. So there goes that. But see, I already threw myself off. Right. So I was that whole thing. Then Negan makes it back. He's got some meds, right? That was pretty much it. He makes it back to the church. He then tells Pierce that he knows what he has to do. He has to do what he couldn't do for Sanctuary. He used to give people chances. No chances now. He says he is going to kill everyone that shows up toward the church. So they need to leave. Mm-hmm. So is he a one-man army? Is he going to give this pep talk speech to the goons that are there? They're just sitting around, either praying a lot or doing nothing. It reminds me of those old 1980s where it was like always the gangsters. Well, I should say the gang members are all punk rockers, with mohawks and everything, just listening to Guns N' Roses around a fire pit or something, doing a whole lot of nothing. That's what I picture these guys, because what are they doing? I don't see Croat working at the methane plant, helping. Is anyone even making that anymore? Did they just stop? Who's doing it? Because that was his operation.
Yeah, I don't know who's taking over the head of science, the Ministry of Science in that department.
Yeah, they just scrapped all that. it's like, all right, so I guess that's not a thing anymore. I don't know. And so hopefully, I get it. DK starts saying this is it. Heads are gonna roll, and he's talking about Bruegel showing. He's not talking about New Babylon Wave 2, which is just hearsay because we didn't see that. We didn't even know anything about that until like a past episode when we found out that the Major had told Bruegel about second wave coming. So whatever. He tells Pierce this. They have to go. Got to get Jenny somewhere safe, right?
Jenny.
Right. But then we get to the end. Because right before, when we get back at Maggie's and Croat, he sees a light. I think they both see it, but then definitely Maggie sees. She sees like a light, like a flickering or something from a building off in the distance. Right. So she was like, "Oh, okay." And what was it? It said the New York Times.
Yeah, that New York Times building.
You mean for the Times Square one?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then that's going further up. That's a longer walk. That's up on 42nd. So if she was coming from 23rd, that's a hike. She should be passing out now. Think how many walkers she's encountering in that trip. Okay, this is not good. This is not good. Unless she can get a bike, and even then she'll probably just tip over and crash. But she doesn't waste any time. She's like, I'm heading over there. So she gets there, tracks down the light. She sees the light. We all figured, we knew who was going to be there. Your favorite character, Carlos Herschel, is there. He says something unexpected. Oh, Mom, I'm glad you're here. We were hoping you would make it. We, the key word here. She looks over, Miss Maggie, to her right, and then we see a sort of burnt up looking, or like she has like I paused. I still couldn't really make out if it's just damaged skin or if she's wearing a mask, Phantom of the Opera style. But it's she's alive, and she bonks her in the head and knocks her out. Roll the credits.
Yeah, she had a burn mark on her neck. That's what we saw.
That's all she had.
That's about it.
Now, come on now. We saw a burnt body. Like, I mean, even if the last episode when there was the fire, we saw a body being burnt and we heard the screams. She was stuck. She was stuck under. There's no way. Oh man. And again, this whole thing was like, oh, so I guess that was the real house. That's the only thing I could think. That either two things. One, Herschel showed up at Dama's house and found Dama, and they said, come on, let's go. They left. Then when Croat showed up, nobody was there. Then Maggie shows up, and he already knows that they're gone. But he's like, now I just want to die because they left without me. So I'm going to go on this whole Easter egg hunt for nothing so that when she kills me on the rooftop sort of the rooftop of this tall skyscraper. Why? That's a dumb reason. That didn't work for me. And now that with the whole Herschel and Dama, and he's like, oh, we were waiting. We wanted you to show. Oh, now they want Maggie involved in their crazy relationship. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on with the show. That I don't. What do you guys think? What do you think right now? I mean, I'll just say my score right now. I'm going to give this a 3.5. I give them credit for, again, the location design, just how everything looks. I like all the special effects. It's good. And the walkers look gruesome. All that stuff is there. But man, it's the storytelling. The storytelling that doesn't make sense, that just doesn't pull you in. I don't care about this Herschel thing. Don't tell me that Dama survived after being burnt to a crisp in a room. How did she get out? They're going to have to try to explain it in the last episode. Oh, man. That's what do you think about this? Yeah, Carlos.
I'll give this a 2.5 out of 5. I wasn't as big of a fan of it as apparently you were. I just wasn't a fan of how everything was set up. I mean, I understand. I like the way that they eventually got to their points. I'm talking about Negan and Maggie, but I just didn't like the process. Like, it just seemed like let's try to get anything to get them. Oh, let's let them hallucinate in a way that doesn't make any sense. I just didn't like that process. And obviously, the end with Herschel and the Dama, it's like, oh my god, here we go. And that was annoying to me.
The hospital could have been great. They set it up. This nurse stole all the meds. No one ever makes it back. Would have been great. Let him have a fight with this crazy nurse. But no, there's nothing. There's nothing. He's just hallucinating. It's him wandering around. He fought some walkers. You know, he killed, I think, just one. The other ones were the kids. He was just pushing them and got the meds and then left. So why didn't people make it back? What's with that story? I would have liked to see that guy's face when Negan walked in. It was like, whoa, you did it. You made it back. And it was like, how many people said? Like I said, it was a story. It could be BS. I don't know if anybody ever went, well, I'm going back to my pew over here where I sleep. You know, that's it. You know, oh, man. But it was a good setup. It was a good setup when they said that. I was expecting him to grab Lucille and go to battle, but no, didn't even do that.
Yep.
So we didn't get that. And then that whole story arc with Croat and come on, we're going to go up to the room. And all right, it was cool seeing, seeing all the walkers, the bridge aspect, all that's great. But it didn't deliver.
Yeah.
Didn't deliver.
Yeah, so I would say that the discussion we had was 10 times better than what we watched. I think that you both have, I respect your opinions on your scores. However, I give this a 2 out of 5, because here's the thing. This entire episode was filler. We thought this was going to be a 6-episode season. So I'm thinking to myself, there has to be a reason why we're getting the episode 7 and 8. Now we already know episode 8 is the all-out war. They're going to throw a lot of, Negan, taking people out left and right in the next episode, because that's what they set up. And then, of course, the showdown between Dama and Maggie, which should be entertaining. But this episode here, to get to that point, to me, it was just all BS and filler. I don't care about the Croat and his backstory, about his mom. I don't care about any of that. Maggie having the hallucinations all of a sudden, this didn't make any kind of sense. And then Negan going to a hospital, like you said, Adam, a perfect setup for there to be some type of obstacle or threat at that hospital, and there was nothing. So I feel like, no, and the people who are working on this show, these are the alums like Greg Nicotero and others that are working on this show. So I expect a lot better from them. So no, this episode, complete filler. I have nothing positive.
And again, I mean, Greg's doing great. I mean, he does the special effects and all that stuff. That's his whole thing. But this is a story. Yeah, it's a story. It's a come on, man.
Yeah,
this is not right. This doesn't. They can't. I can't see them watching this afterwards and saying, "Wow, we're telling a very compelling story." I mean, this is gripping people. People are gonna want to tune in to see this war. We didn't even see Bruegel. We don't know what's going on with that. Are we all right? So are we to think that the big war in the final episode is going to be with all the people? I forgot the name of the group that's with Negan, but I'm just calling them Negan's crew now, going against Bruegel's crew, and Second Wave is going to show up, or is it just going to be Bruegel and Negan's crew, and then they're going to show up some boats coming into the harbor, and they're like, oh, here we go. And that's like the dun 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 season 3 Negan's crew versus the Second Wave, New Babylon.
Well, I would like to respond to this. In my personal opinion, the next episode should be the last episode of this entire show. You could have Negan and Maggie's story continue in another show, but I don't care. And of course, like you said, it probably will be a season 3. But to me, it's like they really give me really a lot less to care about with the finale now, outside of these confrontations. So if this is the last episode and this is it for this show, that's great. So we can move on to another Walking Dead show that's hopefully better.
Yeah, this was, and then it's sad because you want these spinoffs to succeed. You know, The Walking Dead finished and it ran its course. It had to end. But we figured that with all the years of making The Walking Dead, that they would have like, all right, we know how to make good soup. we can make some real good soup. We're gonna put this, a little spice, maybe this some meat. It's gonna be great. And no, it's like they sprinkle a little bit and it's bland. You know, they set up all these cool moments. They got cool set designs, and the weakest part is just the story. Who cares about Herschel? Who cares about Dama? And that whole thing. What's the end result? Maggie kills Dama. Herschel still doesn't want to be with her. He wants to live in the big city, you know, like all the other kids that run off to the big city. They want that big city life. Doesn't matter if it's after the fall and everything is dilapidated. They don't care. They still want to be in the city. He doesn't want to go back to the bricks. So does she leave him, or does he die? I mean, if they want to really spice this show up, Herschel has to die. Something not by her hand. Something happens. Maybe he tries to save her. He feels bad for what he's done to her. And he maybe some walkers attack. Dama turns in and he fights and he dies. I don't think Herschel needs to make it out. And there's no coming back from this. There's no saving grace. I don't see him flipping the script and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I now support him. Oh, he's a good kid now. He was, once Dama dies, all of a sudden he snaps out of it like he was in a trance. I don't buy that. So that whole story, I don't care. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with Negan if we get a big battle and see how they decide to end this show or this spinoff. Who knows if this is it? I haven't seen the ratings, so I don't know if it's doing well or not. So, all right, I think that's it. Anything else you guys want to say?
No, I'm pretty much concur with what you said. There's no saving grace or saving Private Ryan either. We just got to wait to see. Hopefully the finale is something to remember.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll see. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back next week for the finale of Dead City.
Peace.